Hey, it's Jen from the Nomadic Bits Gluten-Free, and today I want to talk to you about the 5 mistakes that I hear most often of people doing when dining out with celiac disease or on the gluten-free diet. Dining out can be really tricky. We all know this, right? Between the lack of awareness in restaurants, between the lack of understanding from servers, and knowing what we need to have to enjoy a safe meal, it's a pretty sensitive subject. But I've heard from clients, from followers, from my audience, from people like you, of a couple of things that I think we can avoid, mistakes that we can not do, which can help us dine out in a more safe way and have as safe an experience as possible. Mistake number 1, what not to do. Not researching the restaurant before you go. Now hear me out. I know it's nice to not have to really think about these things, but it's kind of the world that you live in now, especially if you have celiac or you follow a gluten-free diet. Knowing about the restaurant, or at least doing a little bit of research before you go, is going to make a big difference in your overall experience. Okay, so this could be looking it up online. This could be using apps like Find Me Gluten Free or Spoken or Yelp or TripAdvisor, or it could even just be checking them out on social media. You want to have an idea of where you're going and know what to expect when you get there. Mistake number 2 to avoid. When looking up these reviews and information about the restaurant, don't take the word of a stranger on the internet as the truth. Now, reviews, apps, all of this information is a great place to begin, and it's a great way to start your research. But my celiac disease diagnosis and my dietary needs may be different from yours. So in order to make sure that you can have a safe dining experience, you should verify with the restaurant that what you read online is in fact true, right? So take what you see online as a good starting place, but then always double check that it works for you and for your health, because your health is not my health and it's not somebody else's health. It has to work for you. So the best way to do this is to contact the restaurant directly, send them a message on social media, DM them on Instagram, call them beforehand, or even send them an email. Some way that you can verify that what you read online is in fact true. Mistake number 3, not explaining your needs in a way that the server can understand you. Now, this is going to be a little controversial for some people, but hear me out. Have you ever had the deer in the headlights stare from a restaurant server when you say, I have celiac disease. It's an autoimmune condition that affects the small intestine. When my body digests gluten, it attacks itself, which could lead to a variety of symptoms, including diarrhea, brain fog, stomach aches, constipation, weight loss, anemia, blah, 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 blah. Have you ever had that, what? You ever had that complete blank stare, lack of comprehension from a waiter or waitress or a server? Yeah. Me too. And what I realized after taking restaurant allergen training, yes, I took it. I actually took the training that servers have to take to understand food allergies. They are trained typically in allergies. They're not always trained in celiac. And given the fact that so much of the country of the US does not know what celiac disease is or how it should be handled in a restaurant, they're clueless when you say, I have celiac, right? Now, this is not the case for everywhere. I can think of a lot of good restaurants, at least here in the Boston area, that do a very good job with allergen protocols and celiac protocols, but they're rare, right? And I'm all for spreading the word about celiac disease and making sure that this is a well-known disease and that people are aware of it. But we have to make sure that we're taking steps right now so that when we go out to eat, we can eat safely. And this is why I suggest saying you have a gluten or a wheat allergy instead of saying I have celiac disease. Couple of stipulations with this before you freak out, so let's go through them. So you can absolutely say celiac disease if you'd like to. If that is more comfortable for you, go for it. But I find that I'm way more understood when I say gluten or wheat allergy because it triggers the, oh, allergen. Okay, they have to make a note in the order. They need to go and tell the kitchen. They have to make sure to change gloves. They have to do all of these steps that typically happen with an allergen order. So that is my suggestion, is to try using gluten or wheat allergy to see if your needs are understood better. And if the restaurant is aware of celiac disease, then say it. Go for it. Or do whatever works for you. That's what works for me, and that's what's worked for my clients as well. And until there is a widespread understanding and awareness of celiac disease, this is something that I feel we should be doing to make sure that we can eat a little bit more safely and be more understood. It's getting better, but we're not there yet. Mistake number 4, not double checking that the food you ordered is in fact the gluten-free meal that you ordered. So what do I mean by that? You ordered a gluten-free hamburger on a gluten-free bun with a side salad, right? So everyone's meals come to the table and they set yours down in front of you. Now, some indicators that would be a really easy way to tell if it's the gluten-free one would be maybe a different color or shaped plate or one of those allergy toothpicks. Those are great, but always double check that what is put in front of you is what you ordered. And I mean repeating that order back to the server when it's placed down in front of you. So my plate put down in front of me and they say, here you go. And I say, gluten-free burger on a gluten-free bun with a side salad. Ask it as a question. And if they say yes, and you can say, okay. Or if they say, oh no, actually, I forgot to get it on the gluten-free bun. Let me bring that back. Right? It's just one more little step that you can take to make sure that you're double checking everything is correct before you take a bite. Okay? Because God forbid you don't want to take a bite out of something assuming it's the meal that you ordered and then they made a mistake or something happened and then you end up getting sick, and we don't want that. So always double check, verify with them out loud that it is exactly what you order. And if you're not comfortable doing this, you can always ask someone in your support system or somebody with you to ask that question on your behalf. Finally, if you have to actually send something back and you're mistrusting of the staff to get it right, so for example, let's say you ordered a steak but without any gravy, and they bring you a steak with the gravy on it, and you say, I'm sorry, I can't eat this. The gravy contains gluten, I'm allergic. Can you please, redo this or make a new steak for me? If you want to make sure that they haven't just like scraped off the steak that you just used and brought it back to you on a new plate, cut into it a little bit so that you can see when it comes back to you if it is a whole brand new steak or if they just like took the steak, wiped it down and put it on a new plate. I hope that doesn't happen to you, but it's another little thing that you can do just in case. Finally, mistake number 5, not telling the restaurant they did a good job. So take your time with this. Of course, everyone's reactions to gluten are different. So if you want to wait until the next day or a couple days later to leave them a good review on Yelp or shout them out on social media or leave a review on Find Me Gluten Free or Spoken or one of the other gluten-free apps. But we need to hear more about the places that are doing a good job, because so often we hear of the places that aren't, right? So mistake number 5 is not telling the service staff that you enjoyed yourself, that you had a good meal. Tip them if you feel that they did a really excellent job. So that way we can keep building that momentum forward for better restaurants, better safety, and better experiences. So that's it. Those are my 5 mistakes to avoid when dining out with celiac disease. If you struggle with dining out with celiac disease, I'm going to link a full blog post with more information about this in the description. And if you want more help with this, if you're looking for someone to walk you through it step by step, I have a complete guide to social events with a module all about restaurant dining, and I'm going to link that for you in the description as well. This guide is like a mini course and it'll walk you through my entire process for dining out with celiac disease so that you can eat safely, socialize, and have a good time while eating delicious gluten-free food. Until next time, see ya.